Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with another Into the Emerald Dream card review, and today is Rogue Day. How many times am I gonna mention Shadow Step today? Probably a lot, but we're gonna start off with some pretty crazy, weird copy cards, burgle-ish style cards for Rogue, as we did see that, big wild god that burgles. I guess it makes a bit of sense. So we're gonna look at these cards, and if you wanna win these cards, we have a giveaway going on for 2 regular pre-orders, 2 mega bundles out of my pocket to enter that giveaway. Like and comment in the video, link down in the description below, the one with that thumbnail over there. Be subscribed to the channel. Every 1,000 subs we get until all the cards are revealed, I will add another mega bundle. So hit that sub button, make me go broke. And what a great way to start Rogue cards, by looking at some Nightmare Fuel, a 1 mana spell. By the way, that artwork on that card, I think is sick. I love the artwork. 1 mana spell, discover a copy of a minion in your opponent's deck, combo with a dark gift. So you'll give it that dark gift. It could get charge, the reborn thing, and it keeps its health. You summon a copy of it, double battle cry, all that good stuff. And for 1 mana, not too bad, but you're probably going to get something maybe not super synergistic with your deck unless you're just straight up wanting to burgle stuff for your tests or whatever. So that's not too bad. For 1 mana, it's like, okay, right? These type of cards typically haven't seen a ton of play. Although there was that 1 mana discover a legendary from another class way back that did see play, and I would say that's probably better than this in terms of the minion you get. But dark gifts, I've been playing a lot of arena with the dark gift stuff, and they're really pretty impactful. But again, if you hit like 3 minions, it just don't matter. It won't matter. But you got 1 mana, you got a good shot at getting either a value card, a tempo card from your opponent. Could be all right. Historically with these cards, Rogue lately is just about scamming and killing you and not really about value. We'll see if the set will be any different. The next batch of cards, not sure if that's going to be so true, but yeah, I'll give this a 2 out of 5 in standard, a 1 in wild, although you could steal a Shudderwalk and become like Shudderwalk Rogue or something. That could be kind of nice, but yeah, wild probably not happening. We're facing like an aggro pirate deck. Like, wow, I could steal a Patches the Pirate and give it charge. Hey, we could give Patches charge again. How about that? Anyways, yeah, I'll give it a 2 in standard, a 1 in wild, but certainly fun card for those burgle enthusiasts. And speaking of that, we have the tricky Satyr, a 3 mana 4/3 demon battle cry. Get a copy of the lowest cost card in your opponent's hand. Great. So you're playing the Rogue Mirror, you get another Shadow Step, and then you can Shadow Step the tricky Satyr, and then get another Shadow Step, and then Shadow Step it again, and then Shadow Step it again, as long as I got the 1 mana to play it, right? Because you can just copy Shadow Steps infinitely, which is pretty funny. It can also just copy, Ceaseless Expanse. It's down to 0. That can be pretty good. But again, is this worth hard running in my Rogue deck? Probably not a competitive one, right? You're just getting a cheap card from your opponent's hand, which at least I could spend it pretty quickly most of the time, unless I'm facing an Ultra Greed Lord out there. But yeah, it's just get a copy. You're not like actually yoinking it, it's just a copy. So imagine you actually stole it. That would be omega toxic. But as a result, yeah, it's a bit of value. It's a burgle thing. But again, I'm not sold on it being super competitive. I'll give it a 2 out of 5 in standard, a 1 in wild. But again, yeah, the Shadow Step dream is there. Isn't that utterly broken? I mean, if you could do something with Shadow Step with a card, it must be broken. Next, we have the Mimicry, a 1 mana spell. Again, no spell school. There's a lot of spells this set without a spell school. This one's neat. This one's kind of neat. It seems terrible, but it's kind of neat. Your opponent draws 2 cards. It's like, I guess we can play this in mill. We can mill our opponent. They can draw 2 cards. However, you get copies of them. So basically, it's 1 mana, draw 2 for both of you. But I guess you can act on it first if you have mana left over. So that's something. But typically, the cards in your opponent's deck are a lot more synergistic with their deck than yours, and then you're probably a little bit upset about them having the good cards while you're having these cards that maybe I could use one of them. But yeah, it seems not great. But again, maybe a mill strategy. And thankfully, they did change Sonya not to work with spells anymore. Because could you imagine there was probably going to be a mill deck? You could go Sonya, Mimicry, mimicry, like do a combo with that with like pupils, and there could have been some really nasty stuff with this. You could still probably try and do a mill thing, but it'll be a lot harder. So I'm glad Sonya, minions only. I'm gonna say that nerf was for the better by far. But yeah, overall, I mean, you get some value out of it. The next card we'll look at can work pretty well with this. But again, I feel like the Burgle part of this set's probably more on the meme side, and this seems to be the flavor of this reveal is the Burgle stuff. And I'm guessing we're getting the try-hard competitive stuff next reveal. That's when I'll complain more, right? But yeah, I'm gonna give this I'll give this a 1. This seems even worse than the other cards. I'll give it a 1 in standard, a 1 in wild, but hey, maybe there's a mill thing going on, or maybe that value is that worth it, but yeah, your opponent gets those cards. However, you don't want them to get those cards. We have the final card here, which is pretty gross. The Shadowcloaked Assailant, a 4-mana 3/5 demon with Battle Cry. If you're holding one of the same cards as your opponent, shuffle theirs into their deck. We actually have B-roll footage if you want to take a look at how the card works.
A trick up my sleeve.
So as you can see, we cast Mimicry and then we play this and boom, they got one less card to play with, whereas we get to keep both cards. It'll work with any card where you copied the opponent's card, right? So any of the ones we looked at this game, it would also work with our old god, or not old god, wild god, the big 9-mana Burgle card. I just don't know how you're winning with any of this, right? Like, okay, they lose a card, that's cool, but I just played a 3/5 for 4 mana. That's not great. And I guess I could Shadow Step this and do it again, but that's 6 mana. I can't even really reliably Sonya without like Sandbox Scoundrel, and I guess we could go for, it's just not gonna happen. This is again Burgle memes, but I can't imagine it's competitive. It could be a bit toxic, I guess, but I just don't see it. I don't see like any of these cards being super competitive, but I do see people playing these cards. Burgle Rogue always sees play, even if it sucks. It always sees, not necessarily like at higher ranks, but definitely on the ladder where people just want to burgle and have some fun. And looking at these Burgle cards, I'm not entirely sure what the win condition is other than tests, right? And I feel like it's not good enough now to just be tests. I don't know if any of these other cards put over the top, but yeah, maybe the Wild God will be enough. But overall, I gotta give this a 2 out of 5 again. I don't see it being amazing, you know, just to shuffle that card back and maybe do it again or whatever. I'll give it a 2. And in wild, I'll give it a 1. Again, it's wild. You're dead by the time you can play this card half the time. That's the way wild works, right? If I'm copying my opponent's cards and then wanting to shuffle one back, I don't think I'm gonna be doing so hot. So yeah, not the most competitive batch of cards. Looks like a pretty fun batch of cards for those Burgle Rogue enthusiasts, but there is one more Rogue reveal later today. We'll be reviewing it, and believe me, you're gonna want to tune in. You're gonna want to tune into that review because someone's gonna be a little bit triggered, just a little bit. Trust me on that. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.